Hello and welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman. Right now we have Dr. Richard Land with us from Nashville, Tennessee. Dr. Land is the president of the Southern Baptist Convention's Ethics and Liberty Commission. It's great to have you with us, Dr. Land.
Good to be with you.
Well, the latest reports still show that the execution order remains in effect for a Christian pastor in Iran. Youssef Nadar Khani was initially sentenced to die for apostasy, which is converting from Islam to Christianity, a crime in the Islamic Republic. What kind of message do you think this sends to the rest of the world?
Well, it sends the message that the mullahs in Tehran are fanatics. They live in a pre-modern country. In a modern, civilized country, you don't kill people that you disagree with about religious matters. And they're very dangerous. I mean, these people really believe what they believe, and they are radicals. And the only thing that has kept this dear pastor from being executed already is the cold public light of world opinion being focused on Tehran.
Well, do you feel like the Obama administration is doing enough to save this pastor's life?
Well, that may be above my pay grade. We don't know what they're doing privately. I do know that in my years working on the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, that we have taken up particular cases of people who were in jail, and we were told, we'll let them out if you don't take credit. And so we don't know what they're doing privately. I hope that their comparative silence means that they think they can do more through private back-channel diplomacy. But I hope that President Obama and the Secretary of State at the highest levels are making it clear that this is utterly and totally unacceptable, and that we are using every diplomatic resource at our disposal to spare this dear Christian brother's life.
Now, if this pastor is executed, which, by the way, could happen at any time now, what kind of fallout do you think it would cause?
Well, I think it will take the mask further from the face of the radical Islamic regime in Iran and show that this is the kind of remorseless, uncivilized behavior that they're going to perpetrate on anyone that they can get within their confines and within their authority. And that all freedom-loving people around the world, all people who believe in human dignity and human rights, should be opposed to this radical Islamic regime in Tehran. A regime, by the way, that if the Iranian people could have a fair election, would be sent packing. That was shown by the demonstrations in 2009.
Well, we've also seen Christians persecuted in other countries around the Arab world. Egypt and Nigeria come to mind. And recently, Franklin Graham said that President Obama is giving radical Islam a free pass. Those are his words, as millions of Christians are suffering persecution in Arab and Muslim lands. Now, do you agree with Reverend Graham's assessment?
Well, it certainly appears that he could be doing far more than he's doing, and the Obama administration could be doing far more than it's doing. But once again, we don't know all that they may be doing behind the scenes. And once again, I fall back on my experience working at USERF. Sometimes private back-channel diplomacy has brought results that public diplomacy would not have brought. And we were told, we'll let these people out if you don't take credit for it. And so, that's been true in Egypt and other places. So I'm hopeful that the president is weighing in, and the Secretary of State, that she is weighing in on this at the highest levels. If not, then they deserve to be severely criticized for not doing what they should be doing to stand up for bedrock, basic human principles of freedom and freedom of conscience.
Well, now there's also been some recent indication that Israel might strike Iran. Do you believe that such action would be morally justified?
Absolutely. Israel faces an existential threat. The leader of the Islamic regime, Mr. Ahmadinejad, has said that Israel is a one-bomb state, that he could do with one atomic bomb what Hitler did in the Holocaust. And you have to assume that he believes this. He is and he's extreme even for the Islamic extremists. He believes that it is his purpose in life to bring about a worldwide Armageddon that will then bring back the 12th prophet who will set up a worldwide Islamic caliphate. In a normal country, Mr. Ahmadinejad would be institutionalized. But he's not in a normal country, and he's the head of the country that he runs. And so the Israelis have to take him at his word. I don't see how the Israelis can allow the Iranians to obtain an atomic bomb, because they have said they will use it to destroy Israel's very existence. And so their very future existence is at stake. And so absolutely, I believe that they would be morally justified in attacking. You know, just war theory doesn't say you have to wait to be attacked. If you are in imminent danger of being attacked, you can respond. You know, we didn't wait until those missiles in Cuba were operational before the president put a blockade around Cuba, which is an act of war. My father was with the Pacific Fleet in 1941. He was with the task force that was coming back from having reinforced Wake and Midway on December the 7th. And if his task force with the carriers had encountered the Japanese fleet 150 miles from Pearl Harbor, operating under radio silence, they would have considered that an act of war, and they would not have waited till the Japanese planes took off for Pearl Harbor before they attacked the Japanese fleet. And they would have been entirely justified in doing so, just as in 1967, as the Arab countries were arranging their air forces and their armed forces on the ground to attack Israel from 3 different directions. The Israelis did not wait to be actually attacked. When it became clear that Egypt and Jordan and Syria were getting ready to attack them, they launched a preemptive strike.
Okay. Well, let's turn to domestic matters now. Let's talk about religion and social issues at home. The campaign was supposed to be about jobs and the economy, but social issues are dominating the news right now. Rick Santorum recently got a lot of attention for his comments on faith and its influence in government. Why do you think that Santorum has opted to take on Mitt Romney on social issues rather than the economy?
Well, I'm not sure that he's made that decision. It may be that the media is trying to make that decision for him. If you look at what he's talking about the economy and about his plan for the economy more than he's talking about social issues. It's just that the press is reporting what he says about social issues, going back and digging up what he said in the past about social issues, and whenever he's on a Sunday talk show, that's what they ask him about. I'm not so sure that you could say that Rick has chosen to do this. This is the media inserting itself into the campaign because they think that social issues are a loser for Santorum in a general election campaign against President Obama, and they are in the tank for President Obama. And I think Santorum is right when he says that you can't talk about the economic issues and not talk about the social issues as well. After all, we spend $700 billion a year on means-tested welfare programs, basically to make up for the absence of fathers in the home. We are now at a place where over 50% of babies born to women under 30 are born out of wedlock. That is a catastrophe for our economy. Children who grow up without 2 parents in the home are 7 times more likely to get in trouble with the law. They're 6 times more likely to be in poverty. They are far more likely to not finish high school or finish college. They're far more likely to experiment with illicit drugs. They're far more likely to bear a child out of wedlock. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
What's the position of the Southern Baptist Convention on President Obama's new mandates on abortion and contraception in hospitals that affect Catholic institutions?
We are adamantly opposed to the president's proposal. This is about conscience. It's not about contraception. This is about coercion, not about Catholics. This is about freedom. It's not about fertility. This is about whether or not the federal government can force people to pay for something that they find unconscionable and or pay a fine, or not have health insurance. Now let's understand what's at stake here. If the Supreme Court does not declare the mandate unconstitutional, and if the Obamacare goes into effect, every health insurance program in the country will be required by force of law to provide free contraception, abortifacient, and sterilization services. That means that any individual who wants to go buy insurance, let's say that Catholic charities and Baptist charities say we can no longer offer insurance under these provisions, then you're going to have to go get your own insurance, and then each individual is going to be faced with a choice that seems as un-American as it can possibly be. And that is, am I going to buy insurance that subsidizes and pays for free contraceptive, abortifacient, and sterilization services that may violate my conscience? Or am I going to pay a fine? Or am I not going to insure my family?
Let's also talk about Mitt Romney. He's still considered the front runner. Of course, that could change this week once the dust settles from the Michigan primary. Yet he has changed his position on abortion multiple times. He has once supported gay marriage and then says he doesn't support gay marriage. And on other social matters, he seems to be more moderate. Are you concerned about the possibility of a Romney presidency?
I accept Mr. Romney's explanations. Do I trust him as completely as I trust Rick Santorum? No, because I've known Rick Santorum when he was in the Senate. I've worked with Rick Santorum when he was in the Senate, and I know that he was willing to carry the pro-life cause when no one else in the Senate was willing to do it, even Senator Brownback. So, I have no doubts about where Mr. Santorum stands on these issues, and he's been always on the right side of these issues, whereas Mr. Romney has come to them later. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't hold them genuinely now.
Well, of course, Mitt Romney is a Mormon, and recently Franklin Graham said, though he liked Mitt Romney, he's not Christian. Does the SCB view Mitt Romney and fellow Mormons as Christians?
No. Mormonism is not an Orthodox, with a small o, Trinitarian Christian faith. They do not believe the same thing about God the Father, God the Son, or God the Holy Spirit that we believe. Mormonism, perhaps the best way to describe Mormonism, perhaps the most charitable way to describe Mormonism, is that it's a fourth Abrahamic religion. And with Joseph Smith playing the role that Muhammad plays in Islam, and the Book of Mormon playing the role that the Quran plays in Islam. It's based upon the Christian faith and the Jewish faith, but it goes beyond them and it contradicts them. Islam is not a Christian faith. Mormonism is not a Christian faith. But I would also go on to say that the fact that a person is not a professing Christian and is not a member of a Christian faith should not disqualify him or her from running for president. I would vote for a pro-life, pro-family Jewish person over a pro-choice, pro-same-sex marriage Southern Baptist. As Martin Luther once said, I'd rather be governed by a competent Turk than an incompetent Christian.
Okay, well, let's say that Mitt Romney does win the GOP nomination. Do you see many SBC voters enthusiastically voting for him, or do you think there'll be some reservations?
I think that you'll have a lot of Southern Baptists who will vote for him enthusiastically, and you'll have many others who will vote for him with less enthusiasm. But do not underestimate Barack Obama's unique ability to excite people about voting for his opponent.
All right, Dr. Richard Land, thank you for your insight and thanks for talking to us.
Good to be with you.